Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have a great business owner on. And the reason why I think this one is very great is because, one of the challenges a lot of people have when it comes down to business is trying to find, workers or trying to get the right team. And what I like about this story is that this business owner has figured out how to build a successful tool and a successful business around that tool. And he's done it with I guess you'd say it's like a bare bones team that he's done it with. So I want to jump into that. Shane Wallace, welcome to the show.
Great to be here with you, Terrell. Thank you, mate.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we jump into Workapp, tell us a little bit about your background before you started Workapp 7 years ago.
Okay, well, so I'm a jack of all trades, mate. I've done a lot of things over my life. I joined the Australian military at age 17, so straight out of school, straight into the military as a soldier, and I did my time there. And when I got out of the military, I became a postman. So I was actually delivering mail on a postie bike, which I really loved, but doesn't pay you a lot of money. And after the postie job, I became a security guard. And, that was a lot of fun. But once again, you don't make a lot of money being a security guard. And I got quite bored doing that job. And so I started to think to myself, what am I going to be when I grow up, sort of thing. And I went into sales from that point. So I had a good 10-year career in sales. I was actually selling sports nutrition, bodybuilding supplements and that sort of thing. And then after that 10 years, which I really enjoyed, and I felt like I found success for myself over that 10 years, and I found my niche, I went into business for myself then, and I went into a rainwater tank business and selling big industrial sheds. And then from there, we decided that my wife and I would go around Australia in a caravan because all our children were growing up. So I was also, I had a few sort of skills under my belt, from everything from paving to concreting to structural landscaping that I'd sort of done along the way as well. So I decided to go and get my hands dirty on the tools. And then once we did a lap around Australia in 2012, in 2013, my brother, who's a tradesman, his name is Chad, and he rang me one day because he had a labourer pull out on him and a concrete truck turn up to the job site, which gave him two options: turn the truck around or find a labourer somehow. And so he ended up finding a labourer in the street. So he rang me and he said, let's build an app that finds the closest active workers to the job sites, because us tradies need it. And that's how Workapp started. And the first app that I had ever downloaded was Workapp. I'd never even downloaded an app prior to Workapp.
Wow.
Didn't even have a smartphone.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, when your brother called about, developing an app, like what kind of experience did you have with building apps at that point?
Zero. I didn't even have a smartphone.
Wow.
Literally I had never downloaded an app personally, and I didn't have a computer. No computers. I just wasn't into it. I wasn't very tech, let's just say. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what was it about the idea that made you say that, all right, I don't have a smartphone. I've never downloaded an app. I don't have a computer, but this idea seems good enough for me to actually pursue it. Like, what was it about the idea that sparked it for you?
Well, just backing up a little bit from then, I was on a spiritual quest for myself. When my wife and I went around Australia, we were both deciding that we were no longer going to do things just to make money. We were going to do things that fed our soul. So for me, I was looking for something that was good for the people and good for the planet. You know what I mean? And I had lots of offers to come and sell products. I could make money in sales. I could make quite good money in sales, but it just wasn't aligned with my purpose and my soul. And I just decided, you know what? No longer am I going to do something just to make money. I'm going to find something that actually resonates with giving me purpose, giving me a reason to wake up. And it's not about the money. So when the idea came along from Chad to build this app, first and foremost, it was solving a problem. It wasn't about making money. When he had that labourer pull out on him that day, and he had to find someone in that split second, and he did find someone, fortunately, out in the street, and he basically saved the day for himself. And when he rang me because he had a real need. Let's build an app that finds the closest active workers to the job sites. kind of like an Uber for workers as an example, you know. And I just love the idea because I know people need work. I know tradespeople need to find workers at times. So what we wanted to do was make it so that it had zero cost, just no cost whatsoever, just free, right? And that was the big challenge. And, you know, for me, I thought one of the advantages I had is I had no experience. I had no preconceived ideas of what it was going to take. Essentially, I didn't know I couldn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I hadn't realized what it was going to take, it probably would have scared me off and I would have gone, oh, no, I can't do that. But I didn't know what it was going to take. And I'm like, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's build an app that finds the closest active workers to the job sites. Yeah. And so we spent the first 2 years trying and we failed, but we kept going.
Awesome. Before we started, you said, you've been going at this for 7 years. So, through that, what have the ups and the downs been like? And just kind of, how did you work through those?
Well, I can tell you right now, oils ain't oils when it comes to building apps. That's for sure. You hear people say, "Oh, I've got a good app idea." Oh yeah, great. How much money have you got? Oh yeah, how professional is your team? How's your data security? An app idea just doesn't cut it these days. There's so much goes into the back end of these things to tie it together so that it's very data secure, which is a very important subject in this day and age. And luckily, I didn't know any of that. So when I started, I just dove in and thought, you know what, like I'll just work it out as I go. I'll just have a red hot crack, as they say in Australia. I'll have a crack at it and we'll see how we go. And we spent the first 2 years trying and failed dismally after the first 2 years. We failed 3 times actually trying in the first 2 years.
Wow.
And I'd actually spent all my money trying as well. So it was something that was like, oh my goodness, okay, it's much more harder than I ever gave it credit for, or who would have known. And it really took in the end for me to go to professionals, proper app developers, and pitch the idea to them and say, well, look, this is what we're doing, and which they loved the idea, and off we went to develop Workapp. So, yeah.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about, Workapp, the features in it. What can people expect when they download the app?
Sure. So, as I said, when we started out, it was about finding the closest active workers to the job sites. And what happened was in 2013, we started. At the end of 2013, we had our first version live, and it was pretty ordinary. In fact, it was awful, right? Very, very clunky, and would just freeze every time you hit a button and everything like that. But I was excited nonetheless because the first app I downloaded was mine, right? So I was like, first time I've ever downloaded an app out of the App Store and it's my app, But then I'm showing it to people and they're going, oh, mate, that's awful. That's a terrible app, and okay, I'll make it better. I'll make it better sort of thing, And then I started to really get my head in the game of what it was going to take to build this app. And we had another 2 goes trying and it just failed. And I thought, right, A, I've got to find professionals to do this or it's not going to work. And B, I think it needs to be more than just finding workers. And I had a bit of a think about it and I thought, you know what? I'm going to build an app that combines all of the industries into one. From automotive to real estate to jobs and workers, for business advertising, digital shop, merchant facilities, shopping cart, PayPal, and I'm going to make it free for everyone, right? So I had a very altruistic viewpoint on I'm going to make this free app and it's just no one's going to pay for it, and I'm just going to make it like, all these major e-commerce platforms, but I'm going to do it for free. All these major, automotive platforms for the car dealers, for the private sellers, but I'm going to do it for free. All these real estate platforms for the real estate agents and the people selling their houses privately, but I'm going to do it for free. And so that's what Workapp ended up becoming. It's an all-in-one, one-stop shop industry platform for trade, commerce, business promotions, workers, jobs, events, ticket sales, shopping cart, PayPal, 0 fees. Workapp works for you.
Wow, that is awesome. So now where can people find the app, and where can they follow you online to see what you're up to next and all the great things you have going on?
Sure. Well, I'm on social media. You can get me on LinkedIn, which is where we connected. I'm also got a very strong Facebook following as well, under Shane Wallace. And the Workapp Facebook page, which is separate to the Shane Wallace Facebook page. Our Workapp Facebook page has over 1 million followers now. So that's very exciting. Workapp's actually going viral here in Australia, and it's growing every day in the US as well. So you can download the app from the app stores, so both Android and from the iOS Apple Store. Workapp is one word when you type it in. And workapp.world is our website, because I've got a world vision for this. I intend to have the entire world on Workapp over the next handful of years. A, because it's free, and B, because I built an automation with no staff and no building. That's how it can be free. You know, I don't have all the overheads that these big automotive platforms have got, these big e-commerce platforms have got, these big real estate platforms have got. You know, I don't have any of those overheads. And I'm actually in my office right now, which, as I showed you before, is my shed, you know. So I've got the costs really, really, really low, which means I can grow worldwide and stay free for everyone, which is what I'm planning to do.
Awesome. Awesome. So when you think about that, like I said, you were on a spiritual journey when, you came across this, and, your mission is huge. I mean, when you look back, let's say, 10 years from now, what's the thing you want to be able to say about Workapp?
Well, look, the connection for prosperity, because I articulated the mission statement from day one, and that was to provide a level playing field in trade and commerce, right? That was what I wanted to do. That was my mission statement for the world, to provide a level playing field in trade and commerce without any fees, right? That's the mission statement. So that's what I'm going to be most proud about, because it wasn't until the 4th year, we're up to 7.5 years now, and it wasn't until the 4th year that I actually designed the revenue model, right? And we have a revenue model in place now. And people said to me all the way along, you can't be free, mate. You just can't be free. You have to have a way of making money. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I reckon if you help enough people, get what they want, there'll be a way of getting what you want. If I get enough people using this, there'll be a way of making money out of it. And it wasn't until the 4th year mark when people started to give me a bit of pressure, saying, well, come on, you've got to come up with a revenue model. And I thought, yeah, you're right. I'll think about the revenue model. It has to stay free. So I have to work out a way of making revenue from this thing whilst it's free for everyone, right? And so I was driving my car up the road, and I saw a billboard sign on the side of the road. And I thought, I guess they charge for that billboard according to how much traffic is driving past that billboard. That's how they would price that billboard, I'm assuming, right? And then I thought, you know what? Everyone using Workapp, they're just like the traffic. They're just like the car driving up the highway. So why don't I just put a digital billboard in front of the traffic periodically through the app, and I'll just charge for those billboards only? And so that's what I did. I came up with a model called Workapp Billboards, and the first billboard starts in the number 7th position. So the first 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are free. They're the closest active results in the search results: closest plumber, closest hairdresser, closest worker. The number 7th position is just a digital billboard, just like I was driving up that road and I saw the billboard. Then the next 6 are free, and the number 14th position is another digital billboard. Then the next 6 are free, and the number 21st position is another digital billboard. And all I did was I mimicked all the billboards that I saw while I was driving up the road. Well, I just put that on Workapp, called it Workapp Billboards. And so every other position from number 1 right through in between those billboards are all free. No costs, no fees. The digital billboards is what's going to make Workapp the revenue.
Wow, that is awesome. I love the mission. I love the ingenuity, and I just love the sticking to the mission, even though, like I said, through those first 4 years of, regardless of what people said, is really sticking to the mission. So yeah, I really respect that.
It's all about the mission, Terrell. It's all about the mission for me, because like I say, I was on that spiritual quest, and I became very mission focused, and when people started saying to me, oh, you won't be able to do it, you'll run out of money. Yeah, well, they were right. I ran out of money lots, but that's all right. I just kept finding more, and I run out of money and I find more, and I run out of money and I find more. For me, and one of my inspirations was Elon Musk, because, he ran out of money plenty of times, but it didn't stop him, did it? And even when he was putting those rockets up in space for SpaceX, he was down to his last of his money. He had the 3rd rocket that he put in space, and that was the last of his money. One more rocket, and that's all his money gone. Well, what did he do? He had one more go, didn't he? Because he was willing to fail in order to succeed. And that's the viewpoint and the philosophy that I've taken all the way through this. I was willing to fail in order to succeed. And so therefore my failures just became stepping stones to the success. And here we are.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, before we wrap up, one question that I have to ask, that I ask all of the guests that come on, is when you think about your journey and you think about, where you are now and where you're going, what's two pieces of advice that you would share with other business owners?
Well, I would say if you're going to do something, don't wait for the right time, because there is no such thing, right? The right time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant a tree is now, right? Don't wait for the right time. Dive in and you'll work it out as you go. And another thing I will say is be prepared to fail. People aren't prepared to fail, and that's why they don't succeed. They don't try things and do things because they're not prepared to go through the failures. That's going to have to be the things that you're going to endure to get to the successful outcome. Well, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is if you're going to do things in business. So my advice to everyone is, back yourself 100%, dive in and just work it out as you go. On-the-job training is the best training as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Shane, thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your story and for sharing your wisdom. Really enjoyed having you on the show.
Thanks heaps, Terrell. Great to be here, mate. My pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like our content, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to see more of our exclusive content, you can subscribe and become a member on patreon.com/Business Talk Library. Hey, the Business Talk Library is the place where business makes sense.